We all know that Shadow loves minors, but don't worry guys, he's a minor too. This bro is only 15 years old, and at this age he's managed to build up an empire of underage minors who'll do everything for him, including the pimp training. After he was left with his heart broken by the most powerful witch ever lived in history, she stole his virginity and ran away. She just vanished, guys. Like for real, she just disappeared in front of his eyes, leaving him wondering why she won't join his harem. There's an upcoming Bushin Festival event, and Sid wants to beat some steroid-fed guys who pretend to be legends of the fighting world. Honestly, Sid thinks that his lowest stats minor girl will beat the crap out of all these guys, but he wants to have the fun himself, so he wants to disguise his identity. He visits his minor girl, Gamma, and asks her for a favor to disguise himself as a typical nobody. After putting some slime glue on his face, he's recommended the weakest person ever lived on the planet. This guy is called Mundane Man. Sid likes him a lot. His minors then provide some sort of Frankenstein laboratory service, and voila, Shadow's new persona, lazy, weak, bad, posture, mundane man. He enjoys it. In the street, this girl suggests him to leave the Bushin Festival. He might get traumatized. Mundane tells her that she's over 18 and that's too old for his taste. Then this steroid-fed gorilla suggests him go home as well and get some breastfeeding from his mom and not ruin their fun at the festival. Steroid guy's name is Quentin. He's beating up Mundane Man in the alley, but Sid pretends to be weak and is like leaving all the fun for the Bushin Festival. Then the violet-haired girl intervenes and stops Gorilla Guy. She wants to patch Mundane up, and he stops her by saying there is no need, it's been a while since I tasted my own blood. She randomly tells him her name is Anna Rose Nitchsen. Sid and his NPC friend chill out at MC Shadow's restaurant, and Skell is trying to rip Sid off some money so he can bet on warriors to become filthy rich, but Sid doesn't like the idea and just ignores him. Later that night, Sid is met by Rose, who's happy to see His Majesty Sid the Pimp, and explains that her father, the king, wants to introduce Rose to her fiancé, a dude called Sir Perv Asshat. Bro, I would be scared to be introduced to a guy with such a name. For Rose, it's obvious she wants some love from Sid, but he doesn't care. She fell in love with Sid since he saved her one night while he was still playing the role of a stylish bandit slayer. Rosie girl asks Sid if anything happens, will he still believe in her?
Hey, Sid. Would you keep believing in me, no matter what happens?
Before they part ways, Sid gives her a burger and tells her she should relax a little. Sid's side character friend gambles all his money on bets, trying to win some money, when this Goldie Gilded, the unbeaten legend guy appears and pretends to have skills that allow him to see people's power level. Yeah, Goldie Digger, ever victorious dragon, like for real, this guy, he was mining for all his golden armor. Tells the side character that, for example, like the next match, Steroid Gorilla Gonzalez is level 1,364 when Mundane Man's level is like only 33, and Gonzalez is gonna win in less than a second. Mundane Man, with an invisible strike on the chin, wins the fight. Annie Rose keeps an eye on Mundane Man to see all that he's doing. The next morning, Sid receives terrible news that his beloved Rose Oriana stabbed her fiancé Perv Asshat and ran away to be with Sid. I'd stab this guy too, just for his name. At the arena, Sid meets this elf Beatrix who smells the amount of minors he has. She like smells elf scent on him and asks Sid if he knows an elf that looks like her. She looks so similar actually to Alpha Girl, looks like Alpha is her niece or something. She threatens Sid, but he plays the side character so well that Beatrix believes him that he doesn't know any elf that looks like her. Mundane Man's next opponent is Goldie Gilded, the unbeaten legend. Gildie charges at Mundane Man with all his speed, but Mundane Man avoids being hit just by like cracking his neck. Like crack.
He cracked his neck.
Like this. Crack, crackle, crack.
After dodging Gildie's attack, Mundane slowly takes out his sword like nothing happened. This infuriates Golden Gildie, who transforms himself into a Super Saiyan and dashes at Mundane, only to get racked into the pavement. Wait, what just happened? If I saw what I think I saw, Mundane Man just like sneezed and accidentally raised his sword when Gildie collapsed with the sneeze and like he got pushed away. Annie Rose gets obsessed with Mundane's style and she tries to like replicate it. The next day, Mundane Man fights against Steroid Gorilla Guy. Quentin, you know the guy from the alley? He wins easily, just with like a sneeze, and the gorilla guy gets his head stuck in the ground. After the match, Annie warns Mundane that she saw the whole thing, like what he was doing at the tournament, and it's not going to be an easy fight for her. Sid is so excited that all his background character work is going so well, but Mundane Man gives her a warning too, saying that all his chains he's carrying hold him back, and he drops his OP Rock Lee stuff on the ground, making like these massive holes in the ground. Class President Rose Oriana is being chased in the sewer, and she's fighting to see Sid again as well. But Sid is at the arena playing his Mundane Man character and training his flawless speech. He's woken up by his broke-ass friend who's so broke and desperate that he wants to hunt down the class president, you know, Oriana, and make some money from this like huge bounty on her head. Sid is not interested, but broke-ass dude tries to convince him to do it anyway. When Sid sees his precious older sister approaching his place, he grabs Skell and jumps off the window to hunt for Rose. Walking down the street, he hears the piano playing. He remembers back in his past life, he was forced to learn piano. He was a hardcore piano player, and he wonders how the Moonlit Sonata got into this world. Anyway, it turns out that his minor girl Epsilon uses this past knowledge gathered from Sid to monopolize all this music. Sid finds out from Epsilon that Princess Rose is hiding in the underground tunnels under Royal Capital. Princess Rose is wounded and infected with demon disease, but still thinks about Sid. Sir Perv Asshat is on her tail, and she dreams about marrying Sid, actually, and living, like, eventually happily ever after with him. While on the run, she hears the Moonlight Sonata in the underground, and she goes to check it out, and guess what? Shadow himself, he who lurks in the shadows to hunt the shadows, stole a piano and brought it into the tunnel, playing for Rose. Commitment or creeper? Like, you gotta be kidding me. This bro brought the piano, a pedestal, and some ancient sculptures in the sewer to impress Princess Rose. Like, my guy. Then he goes like, rise up and prove to me that you are worthy, joining my crowded harem, and I should give the power you seek for. And after some other OP BS, he grants her some of his power and heals her, and never forget true power comes from the heart. Then 9 guys from the cult of Diablos try to steal her virginity, but she's all for Sid forever and cuts them in one blow, and then this like bloody rain falls. At home, Sid's sister Claire waits for him. Sid tries to avoid her every time because she's like this brother lover. Now she's all over him and she tries to choke him up that she's in love. After some private moments, she gives him a VIP ticket to sit and watch her fighting at Bushin Festival. At the VIP seat, he meets Iris, the strongest knight. Sid is very humble and greets her. Iris recognizes him due to his sister Claire, and she apologizes for her sister Alexia and the incident, and for her treating him just as a puppet dog. Sid didn't mind if she was paying good money. After that, Sid leaves, pretending to go to the bathroom. He wants to prepare for the Mundane Man performance. On the way there, he encounters Beatrix the elf, who actually remembers his name. I guess she wants to join his crowded harem too. She asks Sid if he ignores her, and he actually doesn't. She asks him if he saw the elf girl she was looking for from their last encounter, and he assures her that he didn't see any elf that looked like Beatrix. She gives him a burger, and Sid offers her one back. Lord Perv Asshat is trying to riz Iris, but she doubts his love, and tells him that her heart belongs to Mundane Man. Just joking, she's not really into Perv Asshat. And Rose and Mundane Man's fight starts, and dashes at Mundane at lightning speed. He perfectly counters her attack and stops her. She was expecting this, and dashes back with more lightning speed strikes. She manages to land a powerful blow, but Mundane Man appears behind her and tells her that she needs to watch more motivational videos to keep up with him. He goes full Wreck-It Ralph, and he smashes her into the air, sending her into the sky, and then he appears behind her and smashes her into the ground. Was it Wreck-It Ralph or was it Charizard? She's like, damn, who made this Mundane Man the main character? They have a glance at each other, then Mundane Man disappears and tries to hit her from behind again, but Anne Rose counters him back and almost cuts Mundane Man, but he dodges her and lands a final blow. Perv Asshat is concerned about Mundane Man's true power and orders his men to do a background check. He might interfere with their plans. After the match, Annie Rose is all kicked out. She finds Mundane Man and they shake hands, and she thanks him for the match. Probably if she knew that Sid, she'll probably join his harem too at this point. Sid's broke-ass friend Skell is taken into custody by the police for bets he lost and the money he owes. Princess Iris just smashed one guy in the ground and is very confident that she'll win the Bushin Festival overall. She sees Beatrix on the side of the arena eating the burger Sid shared with her, and she wants to have a bite too, but Beatrix ignores her. Iris chases her outside, but she offers a bite from another burger, which Iris refuses because she wanted to taste the one that Sid gave her. Back on the way home, Sid is very very pleased with his mundane man progress and praises himself for being a genius. At the VIP seat, Sid gives Iris an OP lesson of a magic spell, how to transform coffee into cappuccino. Iris is amazed by this spell. She starts to be kind of like Sid, like hashtag elephant breakfast with the princess. This is going to go viral on the internet. Perv asshat is feeding his puppet crap drug to the king, Rose's father. Perv guy is concerned about Mundane Man. He thinks Mundane is an underworld resident and can interfere with his pervy plans. Beatrix the elf tells Perv that he stinks like a rat. He totally does. He's about to get his pervy butt kicked by Beatrix, but Iris makes it on time to inform Perv asshat that this is Beatrix, the goddess of war, and he immediately takes that as a compliment from Beatrix. Yeah, right, like you know your place, you little pervy rat. Mundane Man faces Princess Iris. He hits her with an illusion that her head had been cut from the shoulders, and she's like confused, so she steps back and rolls on the ground. She realizes that Mundane Man is so OP that he's winning without a single move. She stands up and Mundane Man hits her with another illusion, cutting her ankle. Then he's like hallucinating her by cutting her arm and her thigh. The crowd is confused. What's up with this chick? They think she's having like a mental breakdown, causing her to rage and to activate her superpower. She dashes at Mundane but realizes he never moves and his sword is not even taken out at this point. Mundane Man slaps her sword on the side and grabs her from the neck. He goes like,
"What's the matter? We're just getting started."
Actually, Sid, like, Riz level went just right up there, plus on more victims for he who lurks in the shadow to hunt the shadows. Everybody's confused what just happened. Princess Rose comes to visit her father. Perv asshat is so glad to see his chick back, but she goes like, no, my heart belongs to Sid Kageno. She goes so crazy about Sid that she stabs her father, releasing him from the drug's influence, and he tells her that he loves her and forgives her, then drops into a pit of blood.
Is that the choice you've made?
Mundane Man appears and murders all the guys who are trying to attack Rose, then he changes into Shadow, and before introducing himself, Rose recognizes his fencing style and calls him Stylish Bandit Slayer. You remember that one? Yeah. Everybody in the room's like, what? Stylish Bandit Slayer? She recalls a moment when Sid saved her from some bandits, and she fell in love with him at first cut back then. Actually, Rose is his first minor girl that Sid recruited for his army, remember?
Your fight has not yet ended, Princess.
Sir Perv asshat is cornered by the Shadow Garden crew with his tail between the legs, but is saved by Beatrix, who dashes at Shadow and they clash. Iris, seeing that Mundane Man is Shadow, rages and joins Beatrix to fight against his eminence, Shadow. He's standing like a menace in front of Beatrix and suddenly teleports behind her. Beatrix barely stops his attack. Bro repeats this move like 3 more times. She's overwhelmed. One moment, please, I would like to join this contest. Oh no, Princess Iris brought an artifact sword to bust her Riz level. Maybe Shadow will recruit her to his minor army. Shadow's making fun of her to lean on that crap sword, and she tells him to shut up and charges at him. Shadow's so OP and quick that he just like appears behind her. She tries to wipe him with her blade, but he appears again behind her. Shadow goes like, I gotta give you credit for the astonishing visuals you just did with that sword of yours. Beatrix attacks from behind and they clash in like this supersonic sword exchange. Shadow brings out his favorite tools, the crowbars. With one, he stops Iris, and with the other one, he stops Beatrix. They're like, what the heck are those? Never seen a weapon like that before. The battle is so intense that they wipe the entire city, slicing the buildings. We can hear people screaming in those buildings. Shadow uses magic for the first time, and he forms spears of water and throws those at them. Iris appears behind him trying to cut the Shadow. He dodges it with ease and smashes a punch in her face, dropping Iris in the water, making her all wet. Beatrix tries her best, but Shadow shines in front of her with his crowbars. Damn you, Shadow! Beatrix and Shadow get on top of a clock tower, and while fighting against Shadow, Iris does this like astonishing visual move again on him, but he stops this chick in one instance. I cannot be stopped with borrowed power. Iris improvises a plan to take him down. She charges at Shadow, but he just slaps her sword out of her hand and lands a knee into her chin. Amateurs. And Beatrix tries to make her move on Shadow. He dodges it with ease and grabs her from her beautiful waist and slams her into Princess Iris. Then he steps on both chicks, making a big crack in there. Iris, barely standing, tries to scare him by saying that every knight in the kingdom is looking for him by now and he has nowhere to run. Shadow laughs like a menace for a couple of minutes. Run away? Who's running? Running where? Shadow goes insanely menacing, yelling, "Why will I run?" Activating his atomic secret move. Playtime's over. Witness my unparalleled earth-shattering, sky-shaking attack. Relax, just kidding. This time is just for show. Shadow goes away like nothing happened. Beatrix has some real emotional damage. She never lost a fight before, and Iris is crying like a 3-year-old baby. Sid is seen chilling with his side NPC friend Poe. Poe is from Potato Guy, just to let you know. The other NPC friend Skell is on a boat working to pay his debt. Poe is so excited about Shadow Demon, that's what they call Shadow now. He regrets that he wasn't on the scene to see Shadow kicking those two chicks' butt. Lady Beatrix actually fell in love with Sid too. She saved the paper wrap from the burger that Sid gave her, saying that she had some good moments in the capital city. Alpha Girl is taking Rose Oriana to their base of operations, and the girl in charge of her puts Rose in a squad of 2 other girls, NR664 and NR665, and tells Rose that her NR will be 666. Bro, that's insane. Shadow's minor army reached 666 underage workers. The woman in charge destroys Rose's clothes completely, but you can't see her naked because it's all blurry. She tries to save the burger paper Sid gave her, but the bitch destroys that one too, telling her she has to cast away everything, and then she proceeds to train it. 666 chicks for Shadow. That's not nearly enough for this brother. It's time for him to visit a city full of minors that he can recruit. Shadow's going to visit Lawless City to make his harem even more powerful and more crowded. But if you want to see part 3, guys, where Shadow conquers new hearts and recruits new minors, come down below and let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for joining us today, and peace!